Hey everyone, in this video we're going to be checking out the amazing new Phantom series bass drum pedals from ACD Unlimited. So these are the brand new Phantom series pedals and they are absolutely phenomenal. Now I will just quickly say this is actually the left hand side, the slave side pedal from my double pedal Phantom. Which kind of shows us our first feature, which is that the double pedal, just like the Darwin FTW pedal, will split fully into two completely proper, fully functional single pedals. All you need to do is remove the beater that would go in the slave side from the main pedal, pop it into your slave side pedal, undo the ultimate drive shaft that connects the two pedals, and you've now got two complete, fully functional single pedals. Now the Phantom series is ACD Unlimited's brand new series of pedals, and it follows on from the lineage of the Darwin FTW pedals, but at a slightly more affordable price point. This pedal is a completely CNC machined aluminium pedal, fully handmade in Austria, and it's built to the same standard and quality as the big brother, the Darwin FTW pedals. So this is a slightly more affordable, slightly simpler alternative to the Darwin, not a lower quality version of a Darwin. Now I'm going to talk you through all of the features and components of these pedals before we start looking at how to adjust them and dial them in. Now there are a few things about these pedals that really define and dictate the overall feel. And if I were to characterize it, I would say that these pedals feel incredibly responsive and very, very light. If we want a heavier feel, we can obviously change the beater bits, and we'll talk about that in a while. But generally these pedals are just effortless. But most importantly, they feel great right out of the box. The first reason for that is these pedals feature a longboard. The longboard also makes the pedal feel lighter. The longer the footboard, then the lighter the action is going to feel. The footboard surface is completely smooth, which means if you're using any swivel or slide techniques, this won't in any way prevent you from using those techniques. The next thing that makes this pedal really feel the way it does is the oversized round cam. Now this is actually based off of the Fatboy cam, which is an optional extra that you can buy for the Darwin pedals. With this, that's what this comes with as standard. The oversized round cam basically gives us a very linear feel. What that means is the pedal stays feeling the same all the way through the stroke. So when you start playing the pedal until you get to the drum, and then on the way back, there's no change in velocity. That oversized creates an even lighter feel, which makes the pedal even more effortless to play. So it's a really, really great all-rounder cam. Now on that cam, you will notice it has a strap drive. Now the Phantoms can also be purchased with direct drives, and you can purchase either the strap or the direct drive as an aftermarket extra as well if you wanted the ability to be able to chop and change between the two. Swapping it over is very, very, very easy. All you'd need to do from the strap drive is undo this screw here with the included Allen keys, undo the point where it connects to the underside of the footplate, and then you'll find a groove here in the cam between the actual cam and the beater hub, and then you would attach the direct drive here. You then put your screw into the side, do it up, you'd then attach the direct drive to the footplate, and you've got your direct drive connected. Now I'm not going to get into the strap drive versus direct drive debate, and in fact if you want you can find a video up here where I talk all about the differences and pros and cons of strap versus direct drive. What I will say is both are great, but again it's a personal preference thing. I get why people like direct drives. I was a direct drive player for over 10 years. The only thing that took me away from direct drives is playing on the straps on the ACD pedals. Now to me, one of the absolute most important parts of any of ACD Unlimited's pedals is the spring geometry. This is really where the magic happens, and to the point that you can actually buy a spring geometry upgrade from ACD Unlimited for most other pedals. With most other pedals you get a very, very small level of expansion on the spring. It's really moving over a tiny little axis, so it doesn't really do much. Due to that, most people tend to have to crank the spring tension up on their pedals to feel like it's very responsive and to get that pedal glued under your foot type of a feel. Because the spring is actually traveling over a much greater distance, you can have it very, very loose and light, but by the time the beater reaches the drum, that spring would have gotten stretched out so much that it's absolutely glued to the underside of your foot and incredibly responsive. This again gives you the best of both worlds. You don't need to crank up your spring, you just need to have a reasonable beater throw, and you're going to get a very responsive, very fast feeling pedal that's easy to play. Also worth noting is that the spring is attached to the top of the spring rocker on a bearing, so you get completely friction-free operation from this, which makes the pedal very quiet and obviously incredibly smooth. One of my favourite features on this pedal is the wheel for the spring tension adjustment. On the Phantom, we can now find it down the side of the pedal, and you have this really nice, easy to adjust, tactile feeling wheel, which makes it very, very easy to recall settings. If you're experimenting and you think I'm going to go 1 click or 2 clicks, and you don't like it, you can come back to where you were, and it's so smooth and easy to adjust that while this pedal is on the drum, you can just reach down, even between songs at a show, and completely change your spring tension. Really, really quick and easy. And as usual with all of the Phantom settings, we've got these lovely etched lines, so it's very easy to quickly visually monitor exactly where you have your spring, either for saving settings that you really like or for matching one pedal against another. This brings me to another one of my favorite features on these pedals, and that is the hoop clamp. What we have is one lever. Lift that lever up and you can see that the hoop clamp has come up. Push the lever down and it locks. We also have a knob here to adjust how open or shut this hoop clamp actually is in its closed position, which means that if you have different thicknesses of bass drum hoops, or you're attaching to maybe an electric drum kit or something like that, you can easily clamp that right down, get it in its perfect spot, and then in terms of taking it on and off, you still just use your lever, up, down, on, off. Now this is another example of something that might look simple but is just so well engineered. Underneath it has notches, which means it will fall into place and lock into one of those notches in order to keep it into position. Now one thing that you'll notice while I'm holding this is that it doesn't have a completely full bass plate. That does a couple of things. Firstly, as I mentioned, these pedals are all about giving you that incredible feel and quality of an ACD Unlimited pedal at a reduced price. So having a much smaller bass plate means much less material, which means much less cost. We still have an incredibly rigid and solid connection, but we can also then undo these 2 screws and completely fold the pedal if we want to. Now, although we don't have spikes, the pedal will ship with some rubber dots that we can attach if you want to kind of get a little bit of a rubbery, grippy surface on maybe a hard floor, but we're all using drum carpets these days, and if you're not, you should be. And the pedal will ship with a few pieces of this incredibly strong Velcro-like material. You can see I've got 2 tiny pieces on the underside of this pedal, and that is more than enough to stop this pedal moving, even with the way that I play. The last feature we have on the single pedal here is the inclusion of the ACD Unlimited dynamic beater. These beaters are my favorite beaters from ACD Unlimited. I love the simplicity of these beaters. They come with a removable beater weight, which means that we can change the feel of our beater in terms of weight and heaviness. That gives us more punch and an overall heavier feel to the pedal in general. And we can also just undo the beater disc. So at the moment, I happen to have a plastic surface on here. We can also use felt, wood, heavyweight, lightweight, and a Mr. Muff vintage kind of furry beater disc. Again, I've got demos of all of those parts on my channel. Have a look through. These are incredibly strong, well-constructed beaters. You can also adjust the angle by loosening this here, and you can change a tilt on it, but with the adjustable hoop clamp, it's really not necessary. Now, talking about adjustments, let's have a look. And the first thing there that I was absolutely shocked to see was that the hoop clamp is also adjustable, just like on the Darwin. All we need to do is loosen these 2 screws underneath here on the base plate, and we can actually slide our hoop clamp backwards and forwards. This is really important because what it means is that you can always get the correct distance of the pedal from your bass drum to make sure that the pedal is hitting exactly at 12 o'clock. If your beater is having to overreach and go beyond 12 o'clock, it probably means that your bass drum pedal is a bit too far back. So by changing the hoop clamp distance, you can make the pedal sit closer to the drum so it hits perfectly at 12 o'clock. And likewise, if the pedal's too close, you can pull it back. The next adjustment we've already spoken about, which is our spring tension adjustment, but it's just so well designed and implemented here, and it's an easy one-handed adjustment, no locking parts that you have to undo. The next adjustment here is our footboard angle. Now, on the strap drive version, all we need to do is loosen this screw underneath at the top of the plate, and as we pull this backwards or forwards, it's going to raise or lower our footboard, basically by shortening or lengthening the strap. If we have the direct drive, there's 2 ways we can do this. Firstly, we can do the same thing. We can pull our direct drive further back or forwards, which will raise or lower the footboard, but that's really more to change the geometry of the direct drive. As you push the direct drive further forwards or further back, you're going to change the overall feel or weight of the pedal. Most people tend to prefer the direct drive where the bottom would be pulled slightly inwards towards you. Some people really like the added weight at the bottom of the stroke by pushing the direct drive all the way forwards. It's a case of trial and error, finding out what you enjoy. Now again, because this will change the relationship of the footboard angle, whereas you might only be adjusting that for the overall feel, there are 3 different holes here that you can attach the footboard to the direct drive link with. We then have a separately adjustable beater angle. All we need to do is adjust this drum screw here. As we loosen it, we can then move the beater further forwards or backwards. What's really cool about this is it means that on the double pedal, we would actually adjust the slave side at the slave pedal. That means that we would adjust or loosen this screw on the slave pedal to move the beater on the main pedal into position. And once we tighten it and we've got it perfect, if we were to separate these now into 2 single pedals, the left hand side pedal, our slave pedal, would already be at that angle that we had just set it when it was connected together as a double pedal. That means that taking your pedal and breaking it apart into 2 singles or a double, we don't need to change our settings at all. It will be exactly the same as a double or 2 singles, regardless of where we set it. The double pedal will also ship with the ultimate drive shaft, which in my opinion is without question absolutely the best drive shaft anywhere on the market. It's so ridiculously over-engineered that it is just bomb-proof. One of my favorite things about this drive shaft is the fact that it has this triangular design. Now, so many drive shafts, even if they are a zero latency shaft, can move. That means that the point where it attaches to the pedal can have a slight bit of shift, and then you can tighten it down once it's shifted. So once you've dialed in your pedal so that the left and right are perfectly balanced, by the time you've taken off and readjusted your drive shaft, quite often you can have one beater here and the other beater will be like there. With the ultimate drive shaft, because of the triangular design, as you tighten it down, it pulls itself back into alignment. So you can only ever get the perfectly aligned drive shaft as it's connected to the pedal. Just like a lot of the other parts of the pedal, we have these fantastic notched grooves. So as you extend this drive shaft, you can feel each click as you come open or close, which makes it very easy to record or remember your settings. Now there's one last thing I want to mention, and this is on the double pedal. It's quite a quirky and unusual feature that I haven't seen on a pedal before, and that's that if you look at the right hand side pedal, the main pedal, it actually makes the left beater move, whereas your slave side pedal will make the right beater move. Now I did think when I first got these that it might actually mess with my head a little bit and make them awkward to play. It's absolutely not the case. You get used to it in seconds. But it's quite a fun little feature to see. And don't forget to check out the ACD Unlimited forum, where anything to do with any ACD Unlimited product, as well as other drumming related things, can be discussed. There's a really good community being built there. You can talk to me, other people. If you have any questions about these pedals or anything else to do with ACD Unlimited, put a post up on the forum and me or someone else who's knowledgeable with it can always get back to you and help you out.